But now my final guest, my fourth lot of guests, equally as talented, if not probably more so. We can't say that. They're producing, Chris and Andrew. Andrew's the director, Andrew Beban, and Chris is going to say his Armenian name in a moment. A show at what is quite a new venue. I've been there twice, and I each time loved the feeling that it was like being in Europe or New York, in the sense of a new venue created, you know. So you go into the bar, we all love a bar, and actually, as I said, that's also the title of the show. But anyway, but you go into the World Bar, which is easy to get at because I spend any money I have on travel, but not on a car. So at the moment, I'm a public transport junkie, so I like to be near a bus or a train. It's near both of them. Well, welcome to, get close to the microphone. So welcome Andrew and Chris to Arts and Tarts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so Andrew Beban and Chris
Yaacoubian.
Oh, yeah.
Or Chris Yaacoubian, to make it easy.
Oh, right. Yes. And you said keep quite close to there. Now, so we're going to create a picture of this show that Andrew has directed. So tell the listeners about this. And again, I'll just better give a time signal. It's 2RRR Ride Regional Radio, 88.5 FM. I'm Margie Mason through to 12. It's 11:37 and a half. So, the show.
Excellent. So AManWalks into the bar is set in a bar, in the World Bar. We've found we wanted it to be in a pub, and we've framed the show within the context of an open mic night. We have Sam Newton, an alt country musician, playing a set before the show starts. People can come in, relax, have a drink, and then as that winds up, the actors take over. We've got 2 men, 2 women, 2 stand-up comedians walking into the pub. Mm-hmm. They start to tell jokes and have a battle between them. The battle is based on jokes in the format of a man walks into a bar.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
And look, this is what we've got to do more of, to laugh.
Absolutely.
I mean, really, it is the only safe drug. I mean, we just, even Sydney, which used to be, people would say, easy come, easy go. But now it's a high pressure city, a lot of, it's crowded and all that. So, theatre is one great way of us sort of letting ourselves relax and,
absolutely,
and enjoying life.
I wanted to create something in a small, intimate space. I like the idea of, the actors and the audience being almost sharing the space together. I lived in London for quite a few years, and pub theatre in the UK is very big, and there are lots of pubs that we used to frequent, where you'd go and you could almost touch the actors because you're so close.
Oh, wow. Yes.
So the theatre, when I came across the Blood Moon, it was perfect for my idea. And yeah, it really will create, the fourth wall doesn't exist in this play. The audience is very much part of the action and part of we get them involved, and really fun way to
and which is coincidentally my previous guests, who are also extremely talented. Their children's show at the Leichhardt Town Hall is apparently, again, I haven't seen it, it's new, but immersive, and where the children can interact in that.
Great.
So that is, even though it's the Leichhardt Town Hall,
you can still create that atmosphere and that feeling.
And do you, Andrew, and Chris, do you go actually down to the Blood Moon Theatre, or do you stay in the World Bar area, or what?
No, we're in the Blood Moon Theatre.
You'd actually
go in. So we'll invite people to come through into the theatre space. Sam will be playing as people come in, and there's a bar in that space. We might be able to open that up. Otherwise, people can bring their drinks in from the World Bar.
Yeah, it's very much like a bar feel. I mean, look, the whole point, it reminds me when we had the preview night. No, sorry, not the preview, the promo for the opening for Blood Moon Theatre. We saw the environment, we saw the setting, and it was wonderful. It's very much like you're in a small bar. It's as Andrew said earlier on, you can almost touch the actors, which is very much like a small bar, and I felt my experiences in New York translated into that.
Yes, well, look, talk about. We've got time.
Yeah.
But Chris, it sounds very impressive. Can you tell the listeners about your background and training, and particularly about New York? I mean, I'm really interested to hear about it.
Well, I started off with a TV pilot called The Carousel. And then in between that, I figured, you know what, I should probably go and educate myself if I want to pursue this properly as a career. Then I then I found a school called the Actors Pulse in Redfern, and that gave me a good foundation. But I wasn't quite mature enough to understand what was happening, and then I started reading a few books, and I started watching a few movies, and Marlon Brando came into my life. And the man, by the way, his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday. He inspired me, so I started researching a lot more about him and found out he studied with Stella Adler. So obviously I had to go to Adler and study there in New York. So I did. And I have never felt so fragile, so vulnerable, so angry, so happy, so isolated yet free. It was the strangest and most incredible experience of my life. And I felt I came back as a different person.
Gee, that's extraordinary. Yeah. And can you, I sat in on a few classes there only, but can you tell the listeners, because I'm really interested in that, how long the course was and how the atmosphere, etc. Chris?
Sure. Well, the course I did was the summer intensive over there, so it's fast tracking you through their 2-3 year course. So within the first 2/3 you go through their 2 years, and then the final third is primarily based on their final year. And it's essentially like it gives you a little bit of a blueprint on what's going to happen and what the education is going to be like. So they're really big on visuals, helping you understand and explore your surroundings and allowing you the stage to be what your imagination is. So regardless of if the stage has absolutely nothing on it, you picture yourself as where the character is and ask yourself constantly why you're there, what you're doing, and how this environment and the person opposite you makes you feel, and allows you to truly react in the way that the character would.
And Chris, so and a lot of, I think a large part of acting, of course, is listening and reacting.
Yeah, definitely.
So do they also...
Oh, yeah, very, very, very much so. I mean, some of the great teachers always say, the number one rule of acting is you're not acting, you're reacting. I think even Nicholson said that at one point too, but he wasn't with Adler. But yeah, very much. I mean, once you understand your character deep down, and the lines have already come in, and you're aware of them, you're no longer thinking about them. You're no longer thinking if your character would do this or wouldn't do that. And you are just there, and you're looking opposite of the person, and they say something to you, and then that has an inflict on you. That whatever they say prompts the next line without you even having to think about the next line. It just comes out at you.
And also that thing of particularly in film acting, but also I think in good stage acting, even though you've got to have the voice, but acting it's the thought processes that it's not hello, how are you?
Yes.
It's what I'm thinking, so I can say hello, how are you? But have a sinister intention or whatever.
Yeah.
So the audience can smell, they can almost smell fear or smell whether you're genuine or not.
Yeah.
So you have to actually almost change your neuro wiring, don't you, to be
Absolutely.
a good actor,
One of the jobs we did in the rehearsal process was sort of with the actors went through pretty much line by line. This play is entirely a conversation. It's one-liners. The two actors no long monologues. So they've got to pick up the cues pretty quickly.
And again, we're talking about a man.
Man walks into a bar,
which is on at again in case people have just joined us on 2RRR at the Blood Moon Theatre just behind the World Bar in. What's the name street?
Bayswater Road.
Bayswater Road in King's Cross. Yes.
Absolutely.
So, go on, Andrew.
So it is a conversation. We went through pretty much line by line, just talking with Chris and Nina. Nina Marsh is the other actress in the show. Just working out what was driving each line and why they'd be saying it. In the play, we learn about a man and woman, their story. We also learn a little bit about other characters that you'd meet in the bar. It is an absurdist piece, so we sort of don't really have much purpose in the play. It really is, we're kind of going around in circles, a bit like life. One of our colleagues described it as kind of a Beckett rom-com.
But there would be, I mean, because we are human beings and we want to empathise with another human being, I'm sure from the good acting and from, there can be a truth behind the absurdity.
Absolutely.
I mean?
No, there is. And we've spent quite a lot of time building up this backstory, building up these characters so that we get the insights into their world, we get to understand them, and through the nature of the dialogue, we get a sense of, we can relate. There's a lot in this play that is relatable. You'll meet all sorts of archetypes of pretty much anyone that you could find in a pub, you'll find in this.
Well, I mean, there has to be, because otherwise for Nina and I, it'd be quite difficult. I mean, we have to find a way to ground the characters and make them be real people. Otherwise, we're just saying, I mean, it may have worked back in the day, but now it doesn't. We have far too many questions to ask. So, we have to find a way to ground the characters, make sense of them, and then move forward and understand why we're doing what we're doing.
Well, Chris, with your incredible background in New York and so on, it's just stunning. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's no such thing now in Sydney as sort of unqualified actors. Well, very rarely, I mean, everyone is international. I mean, it's just incredible.
Absolutely.
And so, do you want to read a bit out, or give the listeners a bit of a feel of a man walks into a bar?
Yeah. So I've got a joke that the woman says, and it's probably one of the best jokes. No, that's not true, but it is a good joke. A bar and a set of jumper leads walk into a bar. The barman says, "Sorry, I can't serve you." "Why not?" they cry. "Well, you're off your tits, and you look like you might start something."
Yes, that's yes.
Nina, I can promise you, Nina says it about 200,000-300,000 times better than I just did.
The show could almost be subtitled "A Dad Joke Walks into a Bar."
But yes, so how have you decided your characters are, Chris? And tell us, what the dialogue between you, I mean, the conversation you've had as actors and the subtext of A Man Walks into the Bar. What did you decide?
Well,
who are you, in other words?
Well, I can't tell you who we are. That's that's
Can
I?
You can. Yeah, you can.
Okay. Well, I can. Okay. So through conversations, through our rehearsals, and figuring out where we're going to go with it, we realized that at least the man's character, he's that typical wayward kind of guy. He's just a dude who is into a bar and he wants to have a drink. And while he's having a drink, he wants to have a conversation. And things start coming out. And as you further develop that, you realize that there are bits of his life that he hasn't exactly wanted to acknowledge, and he has to acknowledge and confirm as the play progresses. And then you start to find... so from the very start to the very end, you start seeing a different character come alive until you kind of just don't.
What about the girl, the woman?
Well, she comes from...
Who is she, if you know what I mean?
Almost the polar opposite. She comes from a wealthy upbringing. She is someone who is substantial and kind of has the kind of person who has what's going for her. Like, the ideal life, but isn't okay with it. You want to step past that. You want to just be free. You want to be able to explore yourself and understand who you are by making your mistakes and going through your experiences. And she likewise starts becoming a different person as the play progresses, because they somehow find this gel within one another, and hence the witty banter in between. And it's a moment for them. It's a conversation in a bar, as Andrew said earlier on. It's a time for them to just not worry about anything that's happening and then just move forward.
And of course, there is that thing, I am a part of everyone I meet.
Yeah, definitely.
Every day. And the filaments, we're sort of connected to people, and
absolutely.
And
we'd like the audience to be able to recognise parts of themselves and parts and elements of the play. And I think that's what makes it identifiable, because the story, it's at its heart, it's a love story. The man and woman did have a relationship that went on for quite some time, and they ended up being separated. Too much drinking, time in bars got in the way. And they come back, our play opens, they're coming back on the night that they would have got married in this pub. It was their place. And having not seen each other for quite some time.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and that's so it's a love story, and who doesn't identify with a love story?
Yes, and just a few final comments. So, first of all, how can people get in touch with you for tickets?
Okay. Yep. So through our website, www.offtheavenue.com.au.
Off the Avenue, all continuous lowercase. Offtheavenue.com.au.
Or on trybooking.com.
Trybooking, yes. And there's no way of directly contacting the World Bar, is there? Do you know if there is?
No. So the Blood Moon Theatre in the World Bar is... at least out
24, isn't it? 24 Bayswater?
Yeah, 24 Bayswater Road.
Yes.
Different theatres, different producers that use the space for short runs. So we've got a 3-week season starting 21st of April.
Oh, wow, that sounds stunning. And so we're talking about your background. And Andrew, then what's Chris's background? We were saying, incredible things in New York.
So
your main study? Or?
my first stage exposure was as a little child playing Augustus Gloop in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now, I'm not quite sure whether it's the promise of chocolate or the love of acting that sort of drew me in. But I stayed for pretty much had a lifelong affair with different aspects of the performing arts. I've trained as a musician and studied piano and organ, trumpet, and played.
And you play several. I read in your CV several instruments.
Yeah.
One of those sickening people. Hate you. Yes. Oh my God.
And then also have a bit of a dance background as well. And so.
But you mainly grew up in New Zealand, or
in New Zealand.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
And then, pretty much, have always been involved in music, dance, and theatre, sort of on the side. I've danced on cruise ships, danced in various places around the place.
Oh, on cruise. That would be a fun gig, though. They work you to death, don't they? I believe.
Absolutely. There's not much downtime, but it is lots of fun. And so when I started off the Avenue, I really wanted to create sort of an integrative theatre experience. So I started the production company to promote emerging artists, to give opportunities for younger and emerging artists to get to perform, but also to provide opportunities for more integrative theatre. So AManWalks Into the Bar, we've written some music for the show, and we've got
normally
Sam
everyone
on stage.
today has been either singing or bringing in the original music. But you are you a singer?
Me, no, I'm not. But Andrew's doing his best to make sure I can. Yeah,
So
he's super talented and he can teach us really well.
So you get just before we finish, then you going to sing something or not?
No, I don't think we will. We'll save that for the show.
Oh no! Look, it sounds stunning, and as I said, we're just so fortunate that we can go and see these shows now in sort of all sorts of different venues instead of having to, pay an absolute fortune, say, for the Opera House or something. So what are the price of the tickets again? I think I've forgotten now.
$30 for general admission. We've got a $26 concession.
And the show is what a lot of things of these days are about an hour and a half.
It's about an hour 15. So Sam's playing from 7. The show starts at 8 and then runs for an hour and just over an hour.
Oh, just fine. This is another sort of thing that's part of the ticket.
Absolutely. Yeah. So because a man walks into a bar, in a bar you'll often find live music. We've got
stunning.
As well as the show, you've also got the gig.
Yes, and just you didn't tell us exactly what sort of music.
No, so Sam's a pretty active alt country folk musician. He's just recently come back from a tour around Victoria and New South Wales. So we're lucky to have him with us and excited that he's joining the company. Oh,
that's stunning. Off the avenue. I keep on wanting to say on the avenue. Yes. Oh, but look, Chris and Andrew, thanks so much for coming on Arts and Tarts. And it's just amazing the work that you're doing. So I'm sure this will be really great. A man walks into a bar.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having us,
Margie.
And a bit more Irving Berlin. Thinking of Chris's experience in New York.